So, what are we going to learn about SWOT? What is a SWOT analysis? We are going to learn how to explain the purpose of a SWOT analysis. We are also going to identify the different factors in the SWOT analysis, which is made up of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in a business. Therefore, the acronym SWOT, S for strengths, W for weakness, O for opportunities, and T for threats. We will use the business stimulus data from a case study in order to practice interpreting relationships between internal and external factors in a SWOT analysis. Now let's start by going into what strategic planning is. In a business, every business has a mission. A mission tells you why the business exists. Next, the business has their goals, which are the long-term targets that they are working towards. They've also got their business objectives, which has specific measurable steps. And then the business also has business strategies, which is the process or the plan of action. The business has business tactics, which looks at the day-to-day actions of a business. Now, what is the role of a SWOT analysis? A SWOT helps to support these strategic planning decisions. This is by helping managers to assess where the business is at, how is the business doing currently, and help to identify what are the next steps to help the business progress or develop positively. It also helps managers to decide how to allocate the business resources effectively in order for the business to grow. Now let's have a look at the SWOT framework. Over here, we have the internal factors on the left. This consists of the strengths in the business as well as the weaknesses. Now, why do we call this internal factors? Because these are the factors that are inside a business. For example, in the strengths, you can see a business, some of the strengths that a business might have could be its unique resources or its assets. What do you mean by assets? Some of the equity that a business has. It could be that a business, they have access to land. Another example of a strength is competitive advantage. A business could have competitive advantage over its competitors if it's been in the industry for a long time. Therefore, it would have established really good partnerships with its suppliers and all other key partners. Another strength of a business could be strong brands or skills. Next is the weaknesses. What are some weaknesses that you can find in a business? This could be limitations of resources or gaps in capabilities. It could be its poor workforce or employees, or the fact that it might have a poor reputation or it has high costs. So when we're looking at high costs, we are looking at the expenses of a business. Next, let's look at the external factors. External factors consist of opportunities and threats. Now, what are opportunities? Opportunities are external, looking at the external environment that's away from the business. So we're looking at market trends and some of the market growth. So for example, market trends. There is a higher market trends for technology nowadays compared to 10 years before. So we are looking at a fast-growing apps as well as TikTok trends. There's many emerging technologies that is coming up. Some opportunities could be unmet customer needs. Remember we talked about problems. So this could be one of them. Next is threat, which is the external factor. we're looking at something that threatens the position of a business. It could be new competitors or changes in laws. Remember, we talk about steeple law. What is a threat is when the law changes. It could completely shut down a business or make it more difficult for a business to operate by increasing its costs. One example of these are the tariffs, or it could be economic shifts as well, where the economy moves and makes things, for example, inflation makes things much more expensive for a business. Okay, so if we have a look, the strengths and opportunities, internal and external factors, the strength and the opportunities are helpful for a business, whereas the weaknesses and the threats are harmful for a business. So if we are looking at analyzing, we need to try and find patterns between the four factors in the SWOT framework. Now, what are some strengths? Strengths are internal factors that gives a business an advantage. So like we mentioned before, it could be a strong brand reputation or a loyal customer base. A weakness is internal limitations that affect a business performance. They could be the business running low on cash or using really out of date technology. Now, what about opportunities? Opportunities are the external factor that could help the business to capitalize and make profit from it. One example is the rising market demand. If there's a high market demand for the industry that or the service or product that the business is offering, this could be an opportunity for a business to expand in that area. Another opportunity is new government grants, because that helps to give the business more money. Next is threats. What is a threat? Is it external risk that could harm the business? This could be new competitors entering the market or economic downturn, which could mean inflation. Now, how do we interpret relationships? How do internal and external factors, how do they connect? So we are looking at how does strength in a business help to overcome a threat? And how does a weakness help to limit an opportunity? So this is what we're going to look at in the next few slides, because this is where the marks come into the exam. So let me give you an example of relationship. So if a business has a strength where, let's look at EcoSips, okay? Remember EcoSips where we did our steeple. It is a coffee brand that is sustainable. Now, EcoSips, one of the strengths of EcoSips is that it has a strong sustainability reputation. It is the customers know it as a brand that's sustainable. Now, if you look at opportunity now, there is a high demand, rising demand for eco-friendly products. So with the strength of the business and the opportunity, putting that together, that gives the business a competitive advantage over its competitors. So, like we said, EcoSips has a strong sustainability reputation and an increasing demand for eco-friendly products. So with EcoSip's strong reputation, positions it to capture the growing eco-conscious market, and this creates a competitive advantage. So you see the S over there, that is your strength, which is strong reputation, and the O is your opportunity. I hope that this gives you an idea of how to find relationships between the four different factors of a business.